Nollie shove it, front side. Once you get used to it, this trick can be done with very little effort. It is also useful when you want to switch the nose and tail. Let's take a closer look. First, let's look at how to spin the board. I think there are basically two ways to do it: kicking the front foot down and scooping with the front foot. Let's start with the method of kicking the front foot down. First, when you push the nose down, the opposite side of the board, the tail, naturally comes up. Because of this, no matter how hard you pop the nose, that alone will only make your board press harder against your back foot, and you can't spin your board. To solve this problem, as your front foot kicks down the nose, it is effective to push the board forward with your back foot as if you guide it. As you start popping harder, add the motion of actively lifting your back foot. After popping the nose, lift your back foot and guide the part of the board touching your back foot up toward the front of your body. After that, the board will leave your back foot and spin through the remaining angle. And next is the method of scooping with the front foot. The inward twist is not usually visible because the force is transferred to the board and used up. However, the muscles I'm using here are exactly the muscles used when twisting the front foot inward. Personally, I feel that this method allows me to spin the board with less effort. These might not be completely independent methods. Try to use a little bit of both and hit the right balance. There's a common misunderstanding. People who have trouble with this trick often try to force the nose to hit the ground. In fact, in a Nollie shove it, the nose does not necessarily have to hit the ground. Let's take a closer look at how the board moves. When the front foot pushes the nose down, the board center mass rises and starts to spin. However, the front wheel is still in contact with the ground, creating friction that makes it stay in place. Then the board center mass wants to go up and forward, but the wheel wants to stay. When these forces combine, the board swings out and leaves the ground as it tries to release the force acting on it. In this process, the board center mass rises even without the nose hitting the ground. So if your goal is to spin the board, you don't have to pop the nose so hard. Instead, all you have to do is to turn the board so that the front wheel stops in place. And actually, a common mistake of trying to do this trick while stationary can make it much harder. Nollie shove it, fakey shove it, and their variations can be way harder as you can't make use of the mechanism. If you're rolling forward, the only thing you have to do is to stop the front wheel in place so that the board center mass and the remaining parts can swing out forward around it. In other words, in this case, you only need a tiny bit of energy, and physics helps you spin your board. But if you're not moving, turning the board does not let you take advantage of physics. All the energy you need to spin your board has to be generated by your own muscles, so physics-wise it's not efficient. And as for how it feels, it is different, and I believe you should practice it while rolling. Lastly, naming. It can be confusing. For example, in your main stance, when you spin the board by pulling a popping foot, it is backside. It is also backside when you do it fakey, because fakey is simply your main stance moving in the opposite direction. In Nollie, however, the name is determined by the direction in which your board or body spins. So if, in your main stance, spinning your board this way is backside, then spinning it in the same direction in Nollie stance is also backside. Which means this is. And the trick explained in this video spins in the opposite direction, so it is front side. It's always confusing. You actually swing your popping foot back, just like in a regular backside pop shove it. But yeah, as long as the board spins in the same direction as the frontside pop shove it or 180, it is front side. I know there are different opinions on this, but it is stated in information sources such as Wikipedia, and it is also supported by the stance name voting system I created, so it can be considered statistically correct as well. If you have a different opinion, please leave a comment with a valid source to support it. And that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.